Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to this video. So for this video, we're going to run through Sinbad. So Sinbad has been officially released and we're going to run through the numbers, right, to see whether or not he has changed much from the Pioneer testing site. So we do have some videos about Sinbad on a Pioneer testing server. So we're going to just run through the numbers here and see whether or not there's any massive changes. So Wheezing Edge, okay, deals damage based on casting speed by both his attack speed and haste, okay, and then deal damage afterwards. 100% plus 15 per hit. Okay, so the numbers are still the same, so ultimate didn't change much. Let's take a look at Tracker's Instinct. So this is the debuff ability, which marks a target as a guard and a hitter. So you reduce the attack of the hitter, which is the main damage dealer, and then you increase the damage taken by the guard by 40%, which is most of the time the frontliner or the tanks. So debuff, the debuffs are reduced to 20% of its original value when used against bosses. So this part, what I'll say is the 20% nerf is actually quite massive in a sense. It loses a lot of value against bosses in Dream Realm, but I'll be including some screenshot on screens that this unit was actually seeing some use in the Pioneer testing server meta Dream Realm teams with the frontline spell and the Great Sword spells. So the frontline teams, the melee teams, which I have been talking about for my past few videos, include Sinbad in it. So I think in certain situations, Sinbad's ability to nerf the attack and increase the damage taken is actually very valuable. So that's one thing which I think this character will probably see use for, right, for the Dream Realm side because of this ability. And based on the numbers, I think it's still the same. So I assume, right, it is still pretty much. Let me just run through the numbers quickly first to just compare. Yeah, 240. Okay, attack speed. Let's take a look at the hero focus. Yeah, everything is still the same. Let's take a look at the EX weapon. Adaptive prowess. Okay, so let me just show it to you guys. Okay, so yeah, everything is the same. So we can actually use this as a reference for the analysis of the character. So Sinbad as a character in the PTR or the Pioneer testing server side, there's a lot of servers out there, is that this character is more so used as a debuffer slash secondary carry type of character, because this ultimate itself, it's basically as much damage as possible based on how fast you can stack your attack speed and haste. So if you can stack up a lot, you will see him just slashing like a madman, and then that's where this 100% damage per hit scales up tremendously based on how many hits he can do within that 3-second time frame. So this is something which allows Sinbad to be a semi-carry. And now obviously this is the skill, like I mentioned earlier, it's a really good debuff, and when you combine that with his adaptive prowess, you can further amplify it. So if you take a look at this ability itself, it reduces the hitter's attack speed upwards to 80, right? And do reduce energy recovery efficiency by 80 depending on which side they do more damage. So if you're a normal attacker based character, you will do more normal attack damage. So if I reduce your attack speed, your attack slower, and obviously your DPS will drop, right? And then if you're more like mid centric character, you use a lot of skills, I reduce your energy recovery by 80%, you're not gonna spam your skill as much. So this is a very targeted debuff. And for the guard purpose, when the guard is like heavily reliant on the heals, then you reduce their vitality, which means that they receive a lot less heal, right? And if they have damage mitigation in the form of damage reduction, this is where you further reduce their physical defense and magical defense to sort of do more damage as well. So right now, I think against the Dream Realm boss, Olsen is a boss with damage mitigation. So this physical and magical defense debuff works on Olsen because Olsen has damage reduction, which is a form of damage mitigation. I think there is another boss. Is there another boss with damage mitigation? Let me think about it. I think no. Necro is a debuff. Croaker is insta-kill. Skyclops is damage negation. Okay, Skyclops probably needs a little bit of investigation, but right now Olsen is confirmed to be further debuffed by this ability because Olsen has the damage reduction from Fury Stack. So that is a form of damage mitigation. So this is where, like, I think there will be certain situations where Sinbad will be good, and with more boss mechanics to be introduced in the future, for example, if future bosses can start healing, then this reduce in vitality might be a really imba skill right there. Okay, we level it to level 10 if the enemy is marked as heater or guard in two consecutive assessments. Their attack is further reduced by 20% if marked as heater, and they take 10% more damage if marked as guard. So this ability definitely is gonna work on the boss because you only have one target. So the boss is gonna be assessed both as a heater as well as a guard 2 consecutive times. And the reason why I keep on saying this character is actually really high potential in the Dream Realm side is because you apply both the heater and the guard on one unit if there's only one unit on the battlefield, right? So not only you're causing the unit to take more damage, you're also reducing the damage output of the unit against your team, which is the fundamentals of Dream Realm, right? Do more damage, survive longer, and that's how you get high ranks, pretty much it. So this ability is actually really good. It's just that there is this like reduction, and I can see why. Can you imagine if you reduce the boss attack by 60% and then you increase damage taken by 40%, Sinbad will be completely broken in the Dream Realm side, right? So this is definitely a nerf like to what he is supposed to do, right? Is he the best debuffer? Maybe not, but he is definitely one that's insanely versatile. And then now we have the level 15 skill. Okay, reduce the heater's attack by an extra 30%, increases the guard's damage taken by an extra 15%. Okay, wait, is this different from the Pinwin side? Let me just double check, guys. Yeah, okay, this is crazy. Extra 30, extra 15. Yeah, so Sinbad is definitely gonna see use in the Dream Realm side. I just don't know how many teams there will be. So I have a few teams on screen right now which showcases what are the combos. So it's with Lenya, with Kruger, Mikola, as well as Shakir, obviously for the melee teams. But I do think that Sinbad has a lot more potential to it. Okay, one, it's guild supremacy. So I saw some videos of people sharing like guild supremacy comp with the double light bearer talent Tau. So it is possible because I think Vala hits the boss really hard. So if you have like, for example, 3 good units to proc the talent itself, I personally think that light bearer's talent is one of the strongest in the game. So I've always thought that this Tau or this path has a lot of potential, right? The issue is that the units that is in this light bearer faction, they are generally not as versatile or not as meta compared to the many other units from the other classes, which makes it such that yeah, you have a good ability, but then you are featuring weaker units to get this ability off. So Sinbad is one of the better characters, which I can see Sinbad being featured. So something like Sinbad, Bala, and Rowan is one. Sinbad, Rowan with Tamasia is another one, or maybe even Sinbad, Tamasia, Vala, for example, with a quick sniping team on enemy, for example. So there is a lot of creativity with Sinbad's introduction, and we have confirmed that Sonya as well as Luca, which are both light bearer characters, are going to come to the game. So depending on their power level, this light bearer factional talent might be the mid to late game meta moving forward, depending on how good the future light bearers to come are. So that's pretty much it, just a very simple analysis for Sinbad. So Sinbad, based on my experience in the Pioneer side, it's more for the Dream Realm side, and then with Guild Supremacy's release and also people using the double light bearer tiles for bossing purposes, yeah, I can see this character being useful for Guild Supremacy as well, and obviously Legends Trial for the light bearer tower. With regards to the AFK stage push, I haven't really seen a lot of people use him yet. I think it's also, like I mentioned earlier, it's like, yeah, she has a really powerful buff, but like the other units, most of the light bearers, they're just not that good for AFK stage push. So like you have a good unit but just doesn't have the team. So depending on how good Luca is, depending on how good Sonya is, everything might change. Okay, but looking at Sinbad, I think as a standalone character, as of my first impression, really decent, very versatile in different game modes. So we shall see how he develops moving forward once he comes to the global side in a few days time. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.